Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Braggy and Curly.
And my favorite bands from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly.
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.
And Rossi.
Okay. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to episode 164 of the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast. Tonight, we've got a cracker of a show. It's a quick one. It should be a fun one. And we're talking all things AFL Grand Final, where this weekend we see the mighty Brisbane Lions, the comeback kings of the AFL Final Series, taking on what was Rossi's description of the Sydney Swans supporters last week, Braggy? Do you remember? Something about suede wearing beret. What was the cap?
Flat cap wearing latte sipping expats.
Look, just because they're more intelligent than rugby league supporters, it's no need to go up.
See, I would disagree with that because those who have jumped on board in Sydney are just trend jumpers.
The bandwagon. So, but it's great to see Sydney v Brisbane in Melbourne, isn't it? So,
go Lions.
Although it does say SMFC on the back of their jumpers on the back collar.
Yeah,
South
Sydney.
Melbourne football.
Yeah,
South Melbourne football club.
And we've got Fitzroy on the back of ours. So
until they lose, then they're Sydney. When they win, and they're South Melbourne. The blood. It's disgraceful.
Yeah, it is. It is. But before we jump into the AFL preview, of course, Braggy, the wheels fell off, the legs fell off. What happened on Sunday? The Norwood dead legs.
I'll tell you exactly what happened. All right. In my world, I went to my daughter's place at lunchtime, and we did a tiny little pub crawl to the game. Just 3 pubs, so there was like 4 of us at the start. We met 2 more people there, so it was like a shout each.
Yeah.
And then we got to the game, and the sun was out. It was raining in the morning, but the sun came out. It was beautiful, and we were sitting on the stand, western stands, eastern stand. So that the sun in the afternoon was just shining. It was just fucking beautiful. And 3 quarters, we were up.
Yeah.
And then at 3/4 time, all 4 of us went out the ground under the fig trees because that's what you do at 3/4 time.
Okay. Under the fig trees at
Right.
Adelaide Oval. Yes.
Yeah, just for a refreshment, you might say.
Yes.
And we came back. And then it just clouded over, and so did we clouded over, the actual ground clouded over, and the Redlegs, like you texted me at that time, they ran out of legs.
Yeah.
It was so disheartening. But you know what? I don't mind Glenelg, and so I wasn't that upset. And I had a great day with my daughter and a couple of her friends and 2 of my old bandmates from a band called The Big Cheese. And we just had a great day, and we came back to my place afterwards, and to cheer ourselves up, we had and you've been involved in this, Curly, we had a disco lounge party, which is just someone on the Spotify playing tunes. We all had a bit of a dance around the kitchen.
So is it in the 4th quarter they became the dead legs?
They became the dead legs. Perfectly put, Rossi. Dead legs.
They were
exactly
25 points up, if I remember rightly, at one stage, and
that was halfway through the 3rd quarter. The Premiership quarter, I thought
Premiership going
quarter,
well.
Bloody palindromes.
But you know what? We won the reserves, so it'll be interesting. Would have been
That's more important.
Would have been an interesting night back at Redlegs headquarters because it would have been the young fellas celebrating and the main team in a bit of. But it looks good for next year, eh?
Well, that's right. Reserve grade's great because you've got an eye to the future. Some say it's the more important competition.
Yeah. I'll take that. I'll take anything.
All right. So before we get into the AFL Grand Final preview, I know Braggy's done his homework, and Rossi and I will just tag along with Brisbane and Sydney jibes, no doubt. I think it's important that we rate who's going to win by the theme song, right? So,
Okay.
theme songs are really big in the AFL, as we know. And
Yes.
I will start with the Swans because they are the higher ranked team, and this is the Sydney Swans
Hit
theme
it.
song.
Cheer, cheer the red and the white, honor the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high, shake down the thunder from the sky. What though the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win over all, while her loyal sons are marching onward to victory. Cheer, cheer the red and the white, honor the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high, shake down the thunder from the sky. What though the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win over all, while her loyal sons are marching onward to victory.
What a
Well,
great.
there we go. So that was the Swans, ladies and gentlemen.
Which is
So-
actually based on Springtime in the Rockies by
Gene Autry. Gene Autry.
Oh.
1961, the Swans started using that. And I would only know that because Mazwak is an old country head. And I would look into that because of him.
So did I hear a bit of banjo in that?
I think so.
Mm.
Definitely. I think there might have been Rossi on the banjo.
And there's trombone as well, I think you'll find. And yes,
All right.
the definition of a gentleman is someone who can play trombone but chooses not to.
Rossi, I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but there's a yeah, that's it. It's like the banjo. There was a band in Townsville when I was back in the day. They were called the Barramundi Brothers.
Yeah.
And do you remember them? Do you remember them? Curly, the Barramundi Brothers. And the drummer played his kick drum was like an old tea chest, and he had like pots and pans and shit. And the bass player, Raybo, I knew him well. He cut down a 16-inch floor tom and made a bajambo out of it, like a bass guitar, bass banjo out of it. The thing was fucking so loud. It was unbelievable. So there you go.
Did he end up in jail?
No, but I feel like I feel like you could bring something like that out for the bass player from the psychotic turnbuckles.
Turnbuckles. All right. So here we go. This is the Brisbane Lions.
I don't think there's much doubt, is there, after hearing that, Dross?
Will we? Hang on a sec. One of the greatest national anthems, probably the best national anthem that there is, the French national anthem.
Oh, look,
Yep.
the French Marseille is great.
Yeah.
I've got to say, one of my favourite moments is watching a Rugby Union World Cup semi-final when they're playing South Africa.
Yeah.
And they played the French national anthem, and I reckon they all grew about a foot. And they came out with knees and elbows and just belted South Africa, and it was fantastic because the Arpies didn't know what hit them when the French were just coming out knees and elbows. It was fantastic. What a great song!
I think Brisbane's definitely a better anthem.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
one thing the AFL does so much better than the NRL. The traditional anthems, everyone sings along. I've been at the Hill there at Redlegs, and even I didn't know the song, but I somehow managed to get.
Well, ours is just Old Lang Syne.
Yeah.
So it's not too hard. They've done it well. They picked.
But
I guess partially they have to work pretty hard on the off-field entertainment because there's not much going up on the field.
Oh. All right.
We'll
So
argue about
Braggy,
that later. Yes.
Battle of the Anthems. Who wins it? So
I'm definitely going for the Lions because I just love that. It's like out of all the national anthems, the American national anthem is really good. I have to give you that, and I love the New Zealand national anthem.
Oh, I love the New Zealand one too. Both verses are fantastic.
It's fantastic.
But I do think, they had to mention Fitzroy. They had to mention the Bears. It's like they've got an identity crisis, isn't it?
Well, you know what? How does the St. George one go, Curly?
Oh, when the
They have
same.
one? Oh, that's right.
marching in.
The Saints go marching in.
The back in the day when we won 11 in a row, I don't think I've ever talked about that, but when we won 11
No
in
one
a
from
row,
St. George ever has.
there was a different anthem for St. George.
Was there?
We are the boys from St. George, and we
We are the St. George team. We had a win today. Because I grew up, I was the vice president of one of the junior clubs in the St. George comp, and that they used that as their victory song as well.
Yeah,
pretty popular.
So Rossi, Battle of the Anthem.
I think no doubt about it. The Swan song is better.
And
casting vote.
Yeah, we go to the speaker. We go to the speaker as if he's biased or not, right?
I think I'm going for the Lions. So based on the anthems, I think the Lions have a good shot this weekend. So let's talk a little bit about the game. Contrasting ways to get in, Braggy, would you say? So,
it's
Swans
got
look pretty
so
good.
many similarities to this grand final.
Yeah.
If you think, the last time these two teams met was 1899. Did you know that?
125 years ago.
Yes.
Wow.
And now everyone's been saying, Brisbane's going to be hungry because of last year. They lost only by a close margin. But Sydney only lost the year before.
Yeah.
They lost the final in 2022. Brisbane lost in 2023. So
it could be a parallel with last year's Broncos.
They got a lot to play for, both teams. They got a lot of bad memories from players of both teams. So
that's for sure.
The
Swans
the Sydney captain's out today. Did you hear that?
Yeah. No, I didn't.
The co-captain, Callum Mills, is out with a hamstring. He trained today, but they said, "No, you're not playing." But that could still be a ploy. They could run him out.
Yeah, I think Oscar the Big O,
he's definitely out.
Yeah, he's a big loss. He is probably one of the most awkward players I've ever seen play the game, but he is such an integral part of that Lions outfit. Just gives 100% in everything. So I think he's a big loss.
Yes, but that puts Danaher. Then they bring that other guy. What's the young guy?
Darcy Fort.
They bring him in, but then Danaher will also play in the ruck, and that gives him he's a great kick into 50. So I think I don't think it's a bad thing. The Big O, I think they call that guy. It's sad for him, but I reckon it's all right. But you know what? Even though I like my head says Sydney's going to win this, but
Rossi's trying to say a couple of things.
They've been a better side all year, I think. They've
Yes,
been,
they've
they've,
been
they've
up.
been pretty much better side, except for a couple of towards the end. You can't stay up all year, but I think they look pretty good, well coached.
Yeah.
Both got great coaches.
And like any true Sydney side, we don't care until they make the grand final, then we're all in.
And yeah. I mean, the last time they played, Brisbane won at the Gabba.
Yes.
So,
And that was a cracker.
yeah, the Gabba's smaller though, and Sydney play that expansive like they did. They fucked up Port because Port used to play it on the smaller Adelaide Oval. As in
But they couldn't quite shake Port though. Like
but
they felt comfortable.
just-
They looked comfortable, but they didn't quite shake them. Because I watched that.
some good matchups though, and that's one of the things when we talk about the two different codes that I would say is it's better in AFL that you get one-on-ones much more in AFL than you do in rugby league, which I love.
Yeah. And I think the analysis of the game is so much better because of that. We have our journos breaking through the mud every day to try and get a story of who's going where or who's fighting who. And I think the AFL journos then just talk about, the midfield or who's up against who and what are the possible matches and where's the skill lie. And I think it's two completely different games, the way that the journos react with it in regards to league and AFL.
I put part of that back down to the old Super League war still. Yeah, like the News Corp journalists still, they still carry a bit of a torch for that.
Yeah,
they still sort of do a little bit of muckraking because it's not their game anymore. But when they were running the game, it was when News Corp were writing on Super League before the Independent Commission, there was a lot more than burying stories. And now they've gone a little bit, they go the rats a bit more often, I think.
Yeah.
But
Wouldn't it have been an amazing comp though if they stuck with that and they did have a team in WA and a team in Adelaide?
Yeah.
I think we're getting a WA side back.
Yeah. 20 years later. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's really, really weird.
Well, you're going to New Guinea.
Yeah, that's right. Going to New Guinea, that'll be great.
So, but we're
I
here
won't
to
be
talk
going
about
to the
AFL.
away games.
You might as well put a Fiji team in. You got enough players.
Yeah, it's St. George, isn't it?
So, Braggy, I'm going to share a story.
Yeah.
This is the first time since 2006 that two non-Victorian teams have played each other in the grand final.
Yes.
Who was the 2006 grand final?
Brisbane Port.
Wrong. It was West Coast Sydney.
Oh, sorry.
And I'll share a really good story about that. We were there for the grand final. It was one of those weekends where AFL was Saturday, NRL was the Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And we were staying at the Novotel right next to the Stadium Australia or whatever they call it nowadays in Homebush.
Mm-hmm.
And Novotel had put out this they had the big screens up, and the place was packed with Swan supporters, right? So but they were all watching the game. We're all out there having a couple of beers. There were bands lined up for the evening. And the minute the game was over and West Coast had pulled it out of the fire and won, the Swan supporters just went boom. And there was just no one there at all, except for like me and my mates and my family. And we had this band that played all night to like 12 people. and at the end of it, they came around and shook everyone's hands individually and said, "Thank you for hanging around." It was a magnificent day, and Sydney Swan supporters just stuck with me from. I know what they're like. The minute the game was lost, they were gone. They were out of there.
That's because Sydney is a city that just thrives on success.
And can't handle loss is.
No, they were probably all going home to put on their football jumpers for the next game.
It's like State of Origin 4.
So let's the Lions worry me, to be honest, Braggy, because when we've got momentum, we look so good. Our midfields get out in space. We can't seem to get all our shots in front of goal, which is a worry. But when we lose that momentum, the other team can quickly put 5 goals on in like a 10-minute period. And I don't think we can do that in the grand final.
Mate, Isaac Heaney is the difference. That guy, if they say he's untaggable because, and you know they in AFL they say if you got a great player like him, you can put a tagger on anybody and shut him down like a good tagger and just keep him out of the game. But with Heaney, he can play anywhere. You know, he plays up front, he plays in the guts, he can even play, you know, off the half back. And there's no one that can. You have to have 2 or 3 taggers because Brisbane's got no one that can play in all those positions.
Yeah.
So he's definitely the best player in the comp, even though he didn't win the Brownlow. He's the best player in the comp at the moment. You just watched that last game against Port. He was just in the front. He was down front. He was just pointing, put it there, and it didn't matter who was on him. He beat his man one-on-one to the ball.
Yeah, I saw some play with him in one line of play where he's taken the ball in the back pocket. He boots it into the midfield, was there to pick up the handball, and then scooted it into the front. And there was a contest on, and when the contest was on, and then all of a sudden he shows up to pick up the crumbs and boots the goal. Yeah. Incredible.
The one thing Brisbane's got in their favour is that the last 2 games the Lions played, they were down by so much.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what they're going to still believe.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And they've got nothing to lose.
The last 2 games, they got nothing to lose. The last 2 games, they were down. So that even if they're down again, they're going to be hard to put away. They're going to believe. And it only takes what's that guy? Starcevic, is it? One of them guys. Starcevic. He's like the fire starter. You know, if he gets going, he just fires everybody up. And
Archie's been a little bit like that. He's been huge. So there's I love Zach Bailey, and I think the way he plays the game, he finds space all the time. But you can't miss 2 kicks in front. You just can't. Not when the stakes is high. And he missed 2 kicks last week. And
I'll tell you who else needs to fire is Cameron. He's been a bit slow off the mark the last couple of games as well. You know.
Yeah.
Charlie's one of those players. If he's on, Charlie, he's on.
Yeah.
You know.
Look, I just also want to raise because it is nominally a music podcast. The AFL have really outshone rugby league with their the match day performances, and I just want to say that I got a special shout out for Meatloaf, but my personal favorite, Angry Anderson, when he's doing "Bound for Glory."
Yeah,
I think it was a pitch and a half, tone and a half out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen that clip where he's driving around the car around the ground? It's fantastic.
Yeah. What about who else was on there? What about
look,
Billy Idol?
Yeah.
I was there that night. I was there that night. That was
want
terrible.
some power. We want some power.
But he's come out on a hovercraft. Rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll. And then fucking nothing.
AFL try some different stuff. We just don't wheel
Could you imagine being a bloke? Yeah.
Katy Perry's AFL Grand Final entertainment.
Is it?
Yeah.
I just read an article where it says it's the worst comeback album ever.
A menu log playing for it.
I don't know.
Oh look, I think she's a little
what
bit
about
hard
when Lionel
done by.
Richie was on? He was great.
I do like Lionel Richie. The rugby league had Barnesy. We've had the Hoodoo Gurus. We've had Cold Chisel actually.
Yeah. And I'm going to, seeing that it is a music podcast, I'm just about, as soon as I find it and tee it up, I'm going to play what is now a staple on Grand Final Day. And it was originally it's a song that is certainly not about AFL, but it's one that's became famous.
This would be
when
Hunters.
Queensland won the Sheffield Shield.
Hunters.
Love this song. It's been thrashed, but I love it.
I was in the biggest army the world has ever seen. We were marching as one on the road to the Holy Grail. Started out seeking fortune and glory. It's a short song, but it's a hell of a story when you spend your lifetime trying to get your hands on the Holy Grail. But have you heard about the Great Crusade? We ran into millions and nobody got paid. Yeah, we raised 4 corners of the globe for the Holy Grail.
Yes.
Oh,
What,
yeah.
Braggy? What was
Yes.
what was that song about?
I don't know, but
Here's-
I remember I had to play it about 5 times when Port won the final in 2005. I thought it was 2006,
Yeah.
2005, because I was playing in the city,
Yeah.
Adelaide, and I was just like, oh, I don't really want to play it
It
again.
really is a great song, though. It's
It's a great song. It's a great
such
song.
a great song.
That's
It's
a
hard
great,
to-
it's a great band.
Inspired by Napoleon's ill-fated march on Russia in 1812.
Make no mistake about it, they're a pretty bright bunch of blokes. Mark Semmel got a book, The 10-Ton Theory. It's a really good read if you can ever read of it.
Yeah.
And 10-ton theory is how much gear's in the truck, by the way. But but
okay,
I used to see them, and they used to have air conditioning ducts and oxygen cylinders and hammers on stage, and they were just this art rock band, and they were wacky as wacky could be. And then, bit by bit, they sort of became more mainstream. But they're such a good band all the time. I just
And
love them.
Is it true that it was like a communist community? Everybody got paid the same from the road?
Socialist collective, yep. And they looked after the road crew very well, and all the road crew loved them, and the band were,
And that's-
decent,
that's one of the
smart
reasons
men.
They split because they couldn't keep affording to pay
Probably.
everybody. It's
Yeah,
cool. The other
probably.
band was like that was I forget their name, but they sang that "Get knocked down, but I get up again."
Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba, the same thing. Paid everybody the same, from the lead singer to the roadie.
I was doing production for, would you believe, the ACTU Congress one year, and
Yeah.
Simon Crean. I was doing in front of house. Simon Crean was the leader of the Labor Party.
Yeah.
And when he walked in, we managed to clear it with his people. We played Chumbawamba for him
Oh,
because he kept on losing. We felt a bit sorry for him. Bob Carr got the theme from Law and Order, but that was a bit nastier.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think they play that song now every AFL Grand Final.
I imagine so. It's very
Yeah.
Victorian. Very
Yeah,
Victorian.
it is. It's and just looking it up on Wikipedia, the lyrics referring to the popular Holy Grail mythology. The song is an anthematic single inspired by Napoleon's march to Russia in 1812, but also referencing the hunters and collectors' flagging attempts to crack the American market.
Yeah.
the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
A good band, deserved it. They really did.
Yeah, they
Okay,
did.
time for trivia, Curly. You ready?
Go for it. Let's do it.
I've got a 0 this week.
No, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. There's a couple you guys have already answered in this before we've even started. So,
Do you think you'll remember?
I did a
Written
quick
down Meatloaf.
I did a quick. No, Meatloaf's not one of the answers.
Okay. And it's focused on AFL.
Poor old Meatloaf. He was really good. What happened to him?
He just had bad monitors. He just had bad fallback. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Blame the roadie. Always blame the roadie.
No. When you're in those grounds, right? and
Yeah,
as you
it's
know,
reverb, eh?
the sound that like there's from one end to the other, the speakers were pointing all at you, so the sound's coming from different sources, and you're getting slap back echoes, and it just throws you. It's really hard. He's a very good singer, very very good singer.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
On Monday, the first couple are a little bit hard, but then it gets easier. Okay.
Thank you.
On Monday night, Patrick Cripps became the 6th player this century to win the Brownlow twice.
Yep.
How many of the other 5 can you name
Oh,
that have
none.
won the Brownlow twice? I mean, if you know anyone else that won the Brownlow this century, just put that down. They might have won it twice. So there's 5 players this century that have won the Brownlow medal twice. And the record's only 3. No one's won 4. The record's 3. But it goes back in the day. That's the first question. And it's out of 5. Second one is there's 3 teams who are leading the most premierships on 16 premierships each. Do you know what those 3 teams are? That's VFL, AFL. 3 teams have won 16 times. It's a tie. What are those 3 teams? That's question 2. There's 10 questions. Yep. Question 3. Against what team did Geelong score a record 37 goals, 17 behinds, 239 in 1992? It's the record. It's the highest score ever in AFL VFL. 37, 17, 239. Let's kick some goals. 1992. Who was it against?
Yep.
What 2 teams in the current competition have only won 1 premiership? There's 2 teams in the current 18 that have only won 1. There's 2 teams that have not won, but there's 2 teams that have only won 1. Here's a question. Question 5. Which AFL player posed for an explicit pictorial with his wife in Penthouse magazine? That should be easy.
Yep. I'm just guessing.
What song has been performed the most at the MCG on Grand Final Day? Number 7, which club was formed first? South Melbourne or Fitzroy? Who's the oldest club? South Melbourne or Fitzroy?
Yeah.
This one is nearest to the number wins.
Okay.
What was the crowd attendance of the 1970 Grand Final between Carlton and Collingwood? In question 9 and question 10. Question 9 is who's played the most games for Brisbane? And question 10 is who's played the most games for Sydney?
All righty. Let's see how badly I did.
I reckon Curly's going to be a little bit excited.
If Rossi pulls this off, if Rossi wins this, it's like it's like unbeatable.
I've got nothing, I'll tell you.
Okay. How many did you get? Any player? Who'd you got? Anyone?
Look, I put Lockie Neal and
that's one
and Vossi.
No. So you got one.
Yeah.
I had a guess at Bob Skelton.
No. He's before this century, isn't he?
Yeah, okay. He is.
So there's Lockie Neal was one. You
Yeah.
got Nat Fyfe from West Coast.
Yeah.
He's won it twice. Gary Ablett Jr.'s won it twice.
Yeah.
Chris Judd's won it twice, and Adam Goods has won it twice. I thought you might have got Adam Goods, Rossi.
Yeah.
Okay, the three. So it's 1-0 to Curly.
Yeah, that's right.
3 teams.
Stay that way.
3 teams. What did you have?
Okay. I've gone Carlton, Richmond, and Hawthorn.
Right.
I've gone Carlton, Collingwood, and Hawthorn.
2 points for Rossi, 1 point for Curly. Essendon was the one you missed.
So
Carlton, Collingwood, and Essendon all won 16 premierships. So it's 2-2. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
What team did Geelong score the record score against?
St Kilda.
No.
Sydney.
No, it was Brisbane Bears.
Okay.
Which 2 teams have only won 1 premiership in the current comp?
I got Port and St Kilda.
Yeah, I've got Port.
Yes.
And Greater West.
They've won none.
Yeah, I thought that was the case.
Rossi's 2 points for Rossi, 1 point for Curly. Ooh, Rossi takes the lead.
Yeah.
Which AFL player was in Penthouse?
Warwick Kappa.
Yes.
Yes.
And he came out today. He said he spent 8 years in Sydney and loved it. Spent 1 year in Brisbane, and that's enough to say.
Yeah. I fucking love him. I think he's fantastic, Warwick Kappa.
He is fantastic, isn't he?
Oh my God.
I love how AFL produces those guys like Warwick Kappa, like Mark. What's his name? Mark,
Dipper.
No, what's Mark? Who did the
Mark
tour with
Jackson.
Chopper?
Mark Jacko.
Jacko.
Yeah.
I'm an individual.
Yeah. What songs and what's his name from Brisbane with the blonde hair? Ackermanis.
Jason Ackermanis. Yeah.
He's in real estate nowadays.
God.
Acker. Yeah.
What song's been performed the most on MCG? You mentioned.
I was going to say Holy Grail.
No.
Up there, Kazali.
Correct.
5-5.
5-5. Okay, who's the oldest club? South Melbourne or Fitzroy?
Fitzroy.
No, South Melbourne by 10 years.
Oh.
South Melbourne were formed in 1873. Fitzroy in 1883. And they're pretty young. And then they played the grand final in 1899. So interesting. Okay, what's your estimate of the crowd, Curly, for the
91,000.
91. What do you go, Rossi?
78,542.
No, it's you get the points, Curly. It's 121,696.
Wow.
Biggest crowd ever for a sporting event at the MCG. Billy Graham, the preacher, has had the biggest crowd at the MCG because they could fill the ground as well.
Yeah.
121,000. That's got to be illegal these days.
Yeah.
That's people on shoulders of people.
Yeah, on roofs.
So what's the score coming into the last two?
6-5. 6-5. Curly's won
6-5
it.
to Rossi.
Yeah.
Curly, you're in front, are you?
6-5 to Curly. 6-5 to Curly, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's two questions to go.
Yeah, Curly's got me, I reckon.
Okay, who's played the most games for Brisbane?
Alistair Lynch.
No. Any idea, Rossi?
Gordon Tallis.
I love 240 guys. He's a Townsville boy. I played cricket with his dad, at the Towers. Much older than me, but
Wally.
Simon Black.
Okay.
And for Sydney?
Kappa.
No. Adam Goods.
You win. Go, Curly. Congratulations, Curly.
It's not a music victory, but it's a victory, Curly.
That was horrendous.
Well done, boys.
I actually did much better than I thought I would, to be honest.
Yeah.
I tried to make it not too, because I don't even know enough myself. I've only fucking been here for half a minute anyway.
All right, let's wind this down with another song that now gets played on grand final day.
Clock on the saddle says 11.
Look at that harbour. Oh, sorry.
That's a dirty Yarra.
Now you've got what a band PK had back then. There's Michael Barclay on drums. Was it Steve Connolly on guitar beside him there, Rossi?
Yeah, Peter Bull playing keyboards.
Yeah, Pedro. Yeah,
Pedro was in the Flaming Hands as well.
Yeah, what a band! What a band, and what a song! And once again, when you write something like that, do you ever think you're going to have a legacy? and it just gets relentlessly played then, leaps and bounds.
He's a great. He's like. There's not many guys who can tell stories, but in the pop format. It's very, very, very hard to do. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But
Yeah,
That's right.
it's so clever.
yeah, absolutely. All righty, let's who's going to win and why? Let's start with the man who doesn't have a dog in the fight. We'll start with Braggy. So,
Well, I do. I'm going to go for Brisbane because I'm a Queenslander.
and why are they going to win?
I've got a dog. He might be blind, but I've got a guide dog. I'm going to go for Brisbane. Well, no, you want to know who I want to win or who I think's going to win? I think Sydney's going to win.
Yeah,
Just think that the MCG, the ground itself, suits their style of play better than Brisbane's. But I tell you what, I'm not. I was more confident that Norwood was going to win than I am that Sydney's going to win. Put it that way.
Yeah,
And Norwood lost, so
yeah. Rossi, who's going to win and why?
Look, the Swans are a side that's, they're associated with success. They share facilities with the Sydney Roosters in Sydney. They co-train with them. They're used to winning, and if they don't win, they can just go back to Melbourne.
You know what? Don't be surprised if we're back again next week and we're talking about it again because it could be a freaking draw.
Oh, truly. Oh, that's a big call.
There you
That
go.
is a big call.
I just know it's going to be special. It's Sydney versus Brisbane. It's going to be a special grand final.
No, Sydney. But the rivalry in the AFL between Sydney and Brisbane isn't the same as it is in other codes.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. But after this grand final tomorrow, it will
be
going up.
Well, needless to say, I'm going to go for the Brisbane Lions, and I had a massage today, and my good friend Nikki that massages me also massages the Brisbane Lions. So she was saying she's never seen them so relaxed and just ready to go. So I'm tipping.
Well, you look relaxed, Curly, too.
Yeah,
you do. He does look relaxed about it.
He does,
yeah. I think
so much
I'm
so you're not even
hopeful.
going to watch the grand final.
I'm hopeful that I want the Lions to win, and as Braggy just alluded to, I will be at the Triffid Beer Garden watching an acoustic show from Eliza and the Delusionals.
That's good.
Because I booked that in with my daughter and my wife prior to actually recognizing that it was grand final day. So
say hello from us.
I certainly will. I'm never been to the Triffid Beer Garden, so I'm hopeful they've got at least a TV up. Otherwise, KO is going to be. I actually know KO won't have the game.
No, it's Channel 7.
Just get the Channel 7 app on your phone.
Yeah, that's going to have to do. So that's
They'll have a TV there. Brisbane,
hopefully. So Brisbane Lions, Sydney, all we know it's a cracker. And can I just say how good are afternoon grand finals?
Yes,
seriously.
That's another point to this code.
Yeah, the AFL. So, all right, guys, let's wind it down. As you know, everyone, we are on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. We've got a website, unfilteredundiscovered.com. The songs that we played, and we're going to finish the episode with that famous Australian classic, Up There Kazali. So stay tuned right till the end. It's the fitting song that will see us out. All of these songs, if they're available, will be added to our Spotify playlist, which is the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast. Hey, guys, let's come back and do it next week. Let's talk about the NRL Grand Final, maybe. What are some of those great rugby league songs? I'm sure that we'll be able to dig up a couple.
Come on, the
And
cow.
I get a funny feeling,
Come
Braggy, we're going to be playing the Roosters club song because I think the Roosters are going to get past Penrith. So,
Oh,
I
can't
think-
see it.
I think-
Penrith
I
are
think
good.
Penrith, Melbourne, freaking Roosters and Cronulla, they're just not even part of the bloody show.
I think you're right. I agree.
we'll keep that one. So, anyway, we'll see you all again next week. Bye for
See ya.
now.
Well, you work to earn a living, but on weekends comes the time you can do whatever turns you on. Get out and clear your mind. Me, I like football. There's a lot of things around. When you line them up together, the footy wins hands down. Up there, Cassini, in there and fight. Out there and Adam, show 'em your might. Up there, Cassini, don't let 'em in. Fly like an angel, you're out there to win. Now there's a lot more things to football than really meets the eye. There are days when you could give it up. There are days when you could fly. Now you either love or hate it, depending on the score. When the team run out or they kick a goal, how's the mighty rule?